The 90s band Morphine pioneered a new type of music, low rock, featuring the unusual yet seductive lineup of baritone sax, two-string slide bass, and drums. Morphine burned bright and fast, but was snuffed out before its time when leader Mark Sandman passed away in 1999. From its ashes have risen Vapors of Morphine. Dana Colley is widely considered to be one of the most original saxophonists of his generation. With his signature 1930s Conn baritone, Dana reclaimed rock and roll for the big horn. Even before groundbreaking electronic effects became the mainstay of his live sound, post-Morphine, Dana's playing was often compared to guitarists like Jimi Hendrix, who were in fact a huge influence. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce to you Dana Colley of Vapors of Morphine. Hello, Dana.
Hello, and thank you for that.
Well, I figured it was a well-written introduction. Not written by me, of course.
It did sound vaguely familiar.
Yeah. I gotta say, this is another check on my musical bucket list of bands that I've wanted to interview on the radio show. I've been here since 1990 and I've played Morphine many, many times in that lifespan. Morphine was one of those bands that kind of stood out among the incessantly overplayed cookie cutter songs on commercial radio. How did you even get noticed, do you think, back in the 90s?
Well, I think it's kind of a combination of lucky strokes in many ways for us. I think when I think about it, I think a lot of what helped us was the advent of the CD, believe it or not. When we first started recording, our first release was on a cassette, and it was good. And
I remember those days.
Yep. And, that came out on Russ Gershon's Accurate label. And then, it wasn't soon after that music started to make this big transformation into the world of CD and digital music. And the idea of having music that was pristine was really something that people would pay for and were interested in doing, even if they already had some of the catalog on vinyl. They were looking to get it on CD. So we were in a position to have music that was being released on CD that was kind of caught that wave, along with the help from Russ's label and his kind of sort of list of notable music magazines and publications, and who were already listening and already interested in what Russ was doing. They gave us a try and sort of got the ball rolling. And I think because of the time period, and sort of the general sound of the music of the 90s, Morphine kind of had the ability to sort of serve as a palate cleanser. We kind of came in between the garage bands and kind of gave you an opportunity for the ears to switch to something different before turning back up to 11,
Mm-hmm. So did you get mostly college play, or was there any commercial radio?
Initially, yeah. There was. It was a very much a large part to do with college radio, and which was huge in the 90s. It's hard to say exactly, but I think the combination of that and some pretty rigorous touring, and with a reputation of having a pretty interesting live set, I think kind of combined for you'd hear something and then you go see it. It would make sense to you. Sometimes we played live as much as we recorded, and we're very much a live band, so we could also do that and get the songs across in a live setting.
I think back then you even had to go out and play live more so than now. At least now you've got the internet and social media to kind of spread the word and kind of spread the music as well, but it's nothing like going to a show and seeing somebody live.
Well, it's a different, that whole time period it's hard to believe now, but if you wanted to see something, you had to go out and go see it. You couldn't just Google it and get a taste of what it was like. You had to go pay your ticket, and you didn't know until that first note was played what you were in for, in many cases. Yeah.
Back in high school, were you playing the baritone then, too, or?
I in the high school band, we had a stage band, jazz band, and a marching band, and I played tenor primarily in both of those settings, although I did dabble a little bit in baritone, but it wasn't until I got out of high school that I decided to pursue the baritone, mostly because of realizing that David Brecker and David Sanborn had the upper register pretty much sewn up. There's no way I was going to be able to do what those guys were doing, so figured I'd go the other direction.
I've seen you described as alternative rock and low rock, but the first thing that I think of when I hear Morphine and Vapors of Morphine is kind of a beefed up jazz. Have you shied away from the label of having jazz or blues in there?
Not at all. No, I've often, when I think about jazz, I think about, John Coltrane, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Eric Dolphy, Stan Getz. These guys who are giants, who, for a saxophone player, that they are the Rosetta Stone. When you hear John Coltrane play, it's a language that I recognize, although I'll never be able to speak. It's like, I would imagine it's like somebody who's maybe has 7 years of French and then tries to have a conversation in Paris and realizes how much they don't know, or so for me it's always a part of a place where I am heavily influenced in, but have too much respect for the music to claim that we are jazz. But I think a lot of the principles of trying to create new ideas and go new places within a given structure of a standard song is something that Vapors has definitely taken on.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of simple lyrics that paint pictures that are very relatable. Do you write some of the lyrics as well, or just the music?
Well, Mark's songs that he wrote, the lyrics, I've contributed on a few songs here and there, but most of I would say 99.9% of the stuff that Morphine wrote, Mark was the lyricist and writer, and we would work with his ideas and formulate what would become the song.
And tell us more. I mean, it's great that, it's unfortunate we lost Mark, but it's great that you're continuing on with a band that, has that sound and feel to it. Is there anything is this the next progression, Vapors of Morphine? Are you doing more that you might have evolved into if you were still just Morphine?
Yeah, that's always the big question. It's hard to say, what Morphine would have evolved into, or where we would be now today. All we can do is kind of just follow what our heart tells us, and the music that we made with Mark as Morphine still is still somehow engaging enough for us to continue to play it and to try to reinterpret it with Jeremy Lyons playing bass and singing. So it's hard to say what it would have been, but all any musician can do is just try to grow and evolve and try to maintain some creative momentum of some kind.
And I think you are. I've been listening to a lot of the Vapors of Morphine lately on YouTube and trying to get a good feel for it, and really, really love it.
Well, thank you.
I've heard that you've got a methodical reed prepping technique. Does that kind of does that contribute?
Are you a saxophone player? You've made some very particular references.
No, I don't. I just I'm drawn to it. I used to be in the horn section, trumpet.
Okay, there you go. See, I could tell you were one of the ilk.
I like brass.
Yeah, well, it's similar ideas, similar nuances, I'm sure, with the brass as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure that this will put your listeners. If this doesn't dial them to the next radio nearest scan station, I don't know what will. But yeah, there's a whole process of selecting and processing and finishing reeds that I've developed thanks to Steve Berlin from Los Lobos, who kind of tipped me off to it in the early days when Morphine was just starting.
Does it kind of help give you a different, unique sound, or?
Well, for me, it's just a way of kind of trying to get the most out of a reed, basically. They're all different, and sometimes some of them play really well, some of them don't play at all, and you try to get a sound to work that feels right to you. That's as easy as I can say. I mean, it's to have fluidity within the horn, and also to be able to have some kind of power to it at the same time. So I mean, it's kind of combination of having enough resistance and also having enough fluidity. So there you go. You can hear the crickets now.
I really respected kind of what you put into it. You can tell that you're really dedicated to what you do.
It's a life's work for sure.
Good. What can we expect from Vapors of Morphine? Everybody's going to be coming out to the Stomping Ground on next Saturday, Friday, next Friday, April 29th.
Yep. Well, we hope that we get a good crowd, and we enjoy seeing people and playing for people. It's a lot more fun that way, and we like to get involved for the audience and kind of get them involved, whatever that may take at times.
Have you played there before?
Yes, yeah.
I thought you did. Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking to Terry, and I thought he said that you were there before. That's it shouldn't be hard to pack the place.
Well, it always helps when it feels full for sure.
Yeah, but it's going to be an awesome show, and I can't wait to see it. That's next Friday, around 7 or something. Well, I'll go. Yeah. I'll check and I'll let everybody know.
I think the doors are probably like 7 or something, and I'm not sure when we're going on, but
I'm gonna get there early because I want to get a seat. That's for sure.
Yeah, come by and say hello.
Dana, one last question. On your many travels across the country and the world, has there ever been a place where you've kind of looked forward to going to get your favorite comfort food?
Comfort food. Well, yeah, there's no place like New Orleans for sure.
Yes.
We have a routine that we go down there every 6 months or so. Jeremy, of course, came up from New Orleans in 2005 after Katrina. That's when we met, and so he's got a really strong base there, and Morphine has a pretty strong base there. So we'll go back and play there every 6 months. And what we do, a friend of Jeremy's has been so generous. He's allowed us he has a place, an old shotgun down in the Bywater that we often will stay at. So we unpack our stuff, bring our bags in, and make our way to this little place called Frady's Food Stop, and they make the best po' boy that you've ever tasted. You wash that down with a Pabst Tall Boy, and you know you're in the right place.
There you go. I'm gonna try that out.
All right.
Dana, thanks very much for calling in. Can't wait to see you next Friday, the 29th, Stomping Ground in Putnam. And it's going to be a great, great show.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Stay on the line for me, okay?
Sure.
Dana Colley from Vapors of Morphine. He's going to be playing for you along with the other band members at the Stomping Ground. Definitely going to check that out. I'm looking forward to it. Let's do a little Vapors of Morphine. I think we should. How about some Sheila?